Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to be looking at the HLOOKUP function that's available to us in Excel. Before we get onto that, remember the quickest way to fast track your Excel learning is by hitting that subscribe button and giving this video a great big like. When subscribing, make sure you do hit that bell notification button so that you are notified by YouTube every time we post another video. Okay, so let's get into today's video. HLOOKUP. So what is the purpose of HLOOKUP? As you might have noticed, it looks very similar to VLOOKUP, and it is very much similar, and it is exactly the same functionality, other than whereas with VLOOKUP we can look up a value and return a desired or extract a desired value from a column or data to the right hand side of our lookup value. HLOOKUP spins it on its head, and basically it will do it the other way, so it goes from looking across the top and pulling out a certain row within the data set. Hopefully that wasn't any confusing, but as we go through the example and obviously step through the function as we're going to do here on this slide, it will become more clear to you. So the purpose of a HLOOKUP is to look up a value in a table by matching on the first row. So again, just come back to that example of VLOOKUP. Whereas with a VLOOKUP, we are looking for a value in a particular row, and then we're returning another value from a different column, whereas this time we're returning a value from a different row rather than a different column. So hopefully that might help that first explanation make a bit more sense. So there's four parts to the HLOOKUP function. The first one is value, second is table, third and lastly we have range lookup. So value, so this is the value to look up. Table, this is the table from which to retrieve data from. Row index, so this is the row number from which to retrieve data. So a row from within the table, from where you want to retrieve data. And lastly, number 4, we've got range lookup. So this is an optional field. It's a Boolean field, so as we know, Boolean means it's either a true or a false. So this is a Boolean to indicate exact or approximate match by default. So if you do not state a value in here, because it is optional, you don't have to, but if you don't put a value in here of true or false, it would default to true, which is an approximate match. So if you can remember from VLOOKUP, if you're going to do an exact match, it will take your value that you're looking for and find the exact matching value for that in your table. If you do an approximate match, it will find, obviously it won't find the exact, but it will find an approximate match of your desired value. So what we'll be doing in our examples, and we suggest you doing when getting started, is to use true for the approximate match, just while you get used to the formula at first. So HLOOKUP, the formula in its entirety. At the bottom there you can see how it all fits together. So we've obviously got the equal sign HLOOKUP, and then we've got the various four parts of the formula. So we've got value, table, row index, and then that optional there at the end for range lookup. Okay, so you've got that slide there, so if you want to refer back to that, then obviously you can at any point in the video, or you can obviously come back to this at a later date. What we'll do now is we'll jump over to Excel and actually go through an example so you can see how this is working. Okay, so we're now jumped into Excel and we're going to work through an example using the HLOOKUP function. So it'll be a very simple example just to show you how it works, but obviously it can be applied to a much more complex solutions than obviously the one we have in front of us today. What we have is we have got two pieces of information in rows 3 and 4. So we can see we've got the day going across those columns, so from Monday through to Friday. And for each of those days we have a sales or total sales. So no idea, they're quite large amounts there, so no idea what they're actually selling, but they will do as random numbers to prove our example today. So what we're going to use HLOOKUP for is to pull through our desired day of the week or value in this yellow cell, and to pull through what the total sales was for that day. So let's put a value in here. So let's say we'll look for Wednesday. Okay. What we want to do in here, let's just center that a bit nicer. So what we have and what we want to do is we want to find what the total sales were for Wednesday. So in order to do that, what our function will need to do is it will need to take the value or the word Wednesday. It will then need to look up for it in this table we have up here. So what it will do is it will go along this this first row of day till it finds Wednesday, and then we want it to retrieve the next value what's available in that column. So it will treat this table as day will be row number 1 and total sales will be row number 2. So let's just jump straight in and start entering that function, and we can see how it works or how to enter it. So as always, we start with the all-important equal sign, and then we can type in our function name, that is HLOOKUP, and open our brackets. And upon doing that, you can see our prompts that we have on the screen. So we've got the lookup value, table array, row index, and the range to look up. First thing we need to do is we need to select our lookup value, and that is going to be Wednesday. So that's the value, or the value what appears in range B9. So we'll hit our comma, and obviously we're just our formula is now going over our day, so you can't see that, but that's not important. So we know that reference is in B9. The table array we want to look in is going to be this one up here. So we want it to start with where it has day, so in the cell reference B3, and we want it goes all the way through to G4. So we've got that whole table included in our table array. So we can hit comma now. So what we now want to do is we now need to tell the function where our value, or the value we want to retrieve, is located. If you have done VLOOKUP before, you'll remember at this point, this is now where you would enter a value that represented the column within your table that you wanted to return, or what column the value you wanted to return appeared within that table. Whereas now it's slightly different in the sense that rather than worry about column, we're concerned about what row is that value in. Because what it'll do is once it's found Wednesday in this first row of the table here, it'll then look down that same column in terms of rows to find where the value is or we want to return. So that in mind, what we need to do is we know that day is in row 1 and total sales in row 2. So we want to pull back the value in row 2, so just enter 2. And then we do a comma, and this is where we now need to enter if we want an approx match, what's true, or if we want a false, an exact match, sorry, what is false. So as we advise, we will stick with and use false because this will ensure that we're getting an exact match on our search term. Obviously, there's only 5 values, it's got 6 if you include day that it'll search for here. But this is a good way of using or ensuring that you use false going forwards to make sure you're always getting that exact match. Cool, so upon entering our formula, we can hit enter, and there you go. So it's returned a value, and we can correctly see that it has returned the value of 175,000 for Wednesday. And obviously that works, being this all dynamic. If we were to change this day here to Tuesday, you can see it now pulls through the amount for Tuesday of 300,000. So very simple. Well, it's not very simple. It does get a bit used to, as does the VLOOKUP. But once you get a grip to how the function works and putting through all the values or the variables that you need, it's a very, very useful formula, and you will soon start calling it a simple one that you can use. And like I say, as all our functions and formulas, you can start using them straight away and start bringing value to your work. Okay, so we hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, as always, drop us a comment below, or you will find links to our website and Facebook page in the description for this video. So if you feel free to contact us via there if you would prefer. And always, one last ask, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so YouTube notifies you every time we post a new video. And again, we'd be really appreciated if you enjoyed this video to give this video a big thumbs up. That'd be very much appreciated. Okay, thank you very much, and see you in the next video.